All right, guys. Well, I want to welcome you all to my first live stream in a long time. And yeah, goodness gracious, it has been a long time since we have gotten together on a live stream here. So I want to welcome you all back. Sorry it's been a while. You can see, like, got a little bit better of a setup here. Still got a lot of work to do in my home office here, but got quite a bit done here. So I just kind of wanted to get on tonight and do a live stream. It's been a long time. I got all my stuff set back up, so what I want to do is test it out, and what better way to test it out than with you guys on here. And what I want to do is just kind of talk fishing today. No real like big thing that I have planned on talking about, just talking fishing. So let me get everything set up here so I can see what I can see. And so I did go fishing today, and I am going to pop up something on the screen, and I tell you what, it is going to give you the fishy fever. I don't know if you've got the fever from the other thing going around. I'm not going to say the name of it on here because YouTube does not like that word. It's the C word. And I will tell you what, if this picture does not give you fishing fever, I don't know what will. Look at this. So what I want you to do is take a look here. Look at that. That was from today. It was actually as I was getting ready to leave the lake. I was so daggone cold I could barely feel my fingers. And it was an interesting day out there. I'll just go ahead and spoiler alert, I did not catch any giants, but man, look at this hump. Just like fish all over this thing. And let me see, I don't know if y'all can see my mouse on here or not, but look at that clump of fish right there. And then you've got fish just scattered all over this hump here. It was insane. So you can see there's no like real brush or anything. This might be brush right here, but like there was no real brush or anything. It was just a hump, and there were fish all over it, like all over it. But unfortunately for me, it was a really tough day. So I was able to catch some fish off this structure, but the main problem was that they were all just small. I'll tell you what, man, if you want to take your girlfriend, wife, or somebody out fishing, take them to Taylorsville Lake. You will never see a woman be more disappointed in 9.5 inches in your life, because there are tons of 9.5 fish out there. Tons of them. And if you know anything about that lake, they got to be 10 inches to keep them. So man, there were several times today that I caught fish that I thought were going to be keeper size, and they just weren't. It was kind of frustrating. So went out today. Main goal was just to go out and have a good time. Kind of thought today was not going to be a fishing day. And I will tell you the reason why is because if you saw, I'm trying to think of where I did post on YouTube. Posted on YouTube, and on YouTube I posted a short little video, winter weather update, I think, where I talked about the weather and stuff. Well, it just barely missed us. Like, the rain came through a little too early, so the stuff did not transition the snow and stuff like they thought it would. But it was actually snowing on my way to the lake this morning, and I mean, it was cold. I think it was like 24 degrees outside, and I mean, it was like freezing cold. Even by the time you can see, let's see here. You can see on the screenshot here, that was at 2:39. That's actually off because it doesn't adjust for daylight savings time. So I was actually at 139, like 140. I was getting ready to get off the lake. I fished for about 3.5 hours, and it was still, even at that time of day, it was still like 28 degrees air temp. When I got there, it was 24, I think. And if you've ever fished in any weather that's that cold, you know one of the main things that you contend with is ice on your guides. And that's something that, like, I struggled with today. Once again, I did not take minnows. I was just fishing with jigs. Jigs. And that was kind of my deal. I've been trying to use that live scope and like really capitalize on using that. And I will tell you what, that live scope will not catch them for you. You can see them. You can see what they're doing. You can see them sniffing your bait. Everything. But you cannot make them bite it. I switched up colors several times today. So I started off with just like a chartreuse. I did like chartreuse and black seemed to be the most productive thing that I used today. But man, I tell you what, like, I should have taken minnows. I almost stopped at this place to get minnows, but it's actually kind of out of the way. Coming from where I come to go to the lake, there used to be this nice little like gas station that was like right at the top of the hill at the marina, and they actually tore that down and they are rebuilding it. But inside that gas station, they used to have minnows. It was super convenient to go there. But in order for me to go somewhere to get minnows, like I go to this Elmer's place, and then there's Briar Ridge that has minnows too. And it really adds on about an extra 30 minutes by the time I drive to those places, then get back to the ramp. And I was just like, you know what? I'll challenge myself today. But really, I think it was a mistake. I probably should have stopped and got minnows today. I just feel like the vibration from that live minnow really helps attract those fish and trigger those bites. I had so many fish today that would come up and just like look at the bait and then swim away. Like if you've ever crappie fished before, you know that like an easy way to trigger strikes, I'm telling you, if you don't already know, is whenever you see that fish come up to it, is to slowly reel up. Like the minnow's like slowly going away from them, and a lot of times they'll hit it as it's slowly reeling up. So I tried several different techniques today. I tried jigging like right in front of them. I tried casting to them and pulling through them. And I just kind of like really couldn't develop a pattern today. It was like really tough, and it was kind of frustrating, but you know what? Overall, I had a good time. I was really glad I got a chance to go out there. You know, Taylorsville's got a lot of crappie in it. It's got a ton of crappie. And I've seen some really good crappie caught out of there. But the issue is that you just really have to sort through them. And I went to several different spots today. It's one thing about being on a boat. But the funny thing is this spot, right here, this hump right here is actually a spot that I used to go to from my kayak. So yeah, like pretty cool that like that was actually a place that I could access from the old kayak, and really easy to get to. I'm probably going to go back there. I think what I'm going to do is, depending on the weather the rest of this week, if I can find another day where I can get back there, I think I'm going to go back here with minnows and try to do like a pseudo spider rig and troll through this area. I think that's what I'm going to do. Should be a lot of fun. I'm thinking those fish should still be stacked up there. I guess we'll see. All right. So, see here. All right. So, another thing I kind of want to talk about today is just a little bit about like my kind of journey here with the fishing YouTube. So I know that a lot of you guys like might have me on social media. Some of you might have me on Facebook, some of you might not. I did finally sell my Native Slayer Max Propel, and I was able to sell it. That's actually what I used to buy the live scope. So when I sold my Native Slayer Max Propel, I bought the live scope transducer system, and that's kind of like, and then I put the rest of the money in savings. And then I did actually sell my Perception Outlaw also. And if you're wondering why, I want to tell you why. One is that the Native Slayer Max, I think I told you guys that like now that I have that boat, I don't really see myself using it. Be 100% transparent, I think that if I were ever to get in a bigger kayak again, I would probably go ahead and get a Hobie. I think it's a better system. I loved my Native Slayer Max Propel. I loved the instant reverse, but the problem with that was that I just felt like the kayak sat too low. You were always dealing with water in the kayak. And like I said before, I just think that I really wouldn't use it now that I have the boat. Honestly, it's easier for me to have all my gear in the boat and launch a boat by myself than it was for me to launch a kayak. And I know a lot of people are probably really confused by that because they're like, you know, it's a giant boat, like there's all that stuff to it, but really like launching the boat is not that bad by myself. So really, like for me, like I don't know, I might get back in a big kayak someday, but right now it's not the time. Now as far as like the Perception Outlaw goes, I do plan on buying a different kayak. And if I were to explain the reasons why, I like a lot of the fishing that I do in the streams and stuff is going to be like paddle up, float back downs. And the main problem with that kayak is man, it was stable as all get out. I mean, it was like a battleship. But one thing about that is that in the creek environment, it just wasn't that agile. And for me, like I want a kayak in the creek that's a little bit more agile. So I am going to share with you guys a little bit of what I'm looking at, and we'll get to that here in just a second. So I'm gonna get that pulled up here on my other screen here. Let's see here. Yeah, hey Jared, that's actually what I did. I had a I had a trailer that was set up, and I kept the kayak on it at all times. Basically, I kept it in my garage on it, and the only thing is that like obviously like I wouldn't keep my rods on it. Like a lot of times I'd take the fish finder, the sonar off of it. Um, it just depends. Like I usually keep the crate on it with all my baits in it unless I had to stop somewhere. But the nice thing about my boat is everything is just laid out on it. I don't have to put a bunch of rods in rod holders, stuff like that. So like really like I was really similar to you. Like I mean, I launched basically I would with the native like because the ramps here would often get really busy. What I do is I just pull my my vehicle and my trailer into one of the parking spots, and then I would use the landing gear system that was on my kayak, and I would use that to roll my kayak once all my gear was in it down to the ramp. But it still took longer than what it does for me to launch a boat. I'm just going to be 100% honest. It took longer than what it takes me to launch the boat by myself. Between getting all my cameras on it, for filming, getting all my gear together. I leave everything in my boat. Like, I literally back my boat in my garage and it's ready to go. A lot of times I'll even leave the rods on the deck just with the rod strap over them. And so when I pull my stuff to the lake, usually I've already got all my rods rigged up and I can just undo my rod strap and immediately start fishing. So it is kind of cool. And like, the one thing I would say for me is if I had a lot more lakes around here that were smaller, that had limited access, electric only, like, man, I would probably be all over the kayak deal. But a lot of the lakes that I fish that are decent are like big boat lakes. And I mean, it just makes more sense to fish out of a bigger boat. But to get back to the kayak deal, yeah. This is kind of what I'm thinking here. So, for the kayak deal, I've been thinking about this brand. For anybody that knows anything about kayaks, Crescent is kind of like a new brand to me, but anybody that is big in the kayak fishing game knows that Drew Gregory, one of the biggest old school YouTubers, actually fishes out of these now. So, some pretty cool kayaks. Like, something that I really like personally is a really flat open deck design, and that's kind of what these have. So the ones that I'm looking at is, like I said, the main thing I'm going to use this for is like really small, like ponds, bodies of water. So I've been looking at this CK1 Venture. Pretty cool little kayak. It's 11-foot platform, very open deck design, and it's got a lot of like really cool features, and it's light. They also have the ultralight, which is another platform that I looked at. So let's check these out. We'll check them out together. All right, so the Venture, it's an 11-foot kayak, and if you look at it, the weight's 60 pounds. It still has the frame style seat. Now, I have seen where you can actually buy, I'm trying to look here to see if they have it on here. They have like a little like high seat option. It's like a little tray that fits in below the seat and lifts the seat up. But let me so all right, so if you look here, the Perception Outlaw, that's what I was fishing out of before. Where are all the specs on it? So it's 77 pounds. So even though if you look at the difference between 60 pounds and 77 pounds, you think that's just 17 pounds, but it's actually quite a bit. And one of the main things that I really want this kayak for is to be able to access more austere areas of water. So I'm kind of thinking this, and like, like Jared said, like, you always have the option of attaching a trolling motor. And that's something that's cool about a lot of these kayaks nowadays, is like there's so many customizable blah, 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 options, and it just like really helps you have options whenever it comes to rigging out your kayak and getting it exactly the way you want. Jared said that he typically fishes in cedar, Harrington, beaver. Definitely like cedar and beaver are some smaller lakes, and are great for kayaks. Like, so like, especially beaver. Like, I really enjoyed fishing beaver from a kayak. Man, like, beaver had some killer red ear in it, and I really wish that, I think I might take my kids there sometime, I think I might take my kids there sometime to fish for like bluegill and red ear, because man, that place was loaded with red ear. But I've been looking at the CK1 Venture, and then like if you look at that compared to the ultralight, the ultralight obviously comes in a little bit at a lower price point, and it says that it's 49 pounds. And if you look at the design of this kayak, look at the rocker on that kayak. It's going to be pretty agile whenever it comes to being able to turn this sucker around, really flip it around in smaller creeks and stuff. I think it'd be a great creek boat, but like, and if you look at the capacity, it's 350 pounds. But you know, I don't know, I wouldn't say I'm a big guy, but like I'm a bigger guy. I'm about 200 pounds. Then you put your gear in there and stuff. I'd kind of like to be able to have the ability to have some gear in there in case I want to take this to like Green River and go camping or something like that. So this really, the CK1 Venture is really what I'm thinking about going for this next season, and seeing if I could use that to fish out of whenever I hit the creeks. So, you know, like this past year, like a lot of the creeks were just, I mean, they were just overloaded with people. But one of the things that deterred me from really getting out more on the creeks was, number one, the amount of people. And number two was just like, I love the stability of the Perception Outlaw, but just the ability to like really drag that thing up like a really steep bank or something like that and like drag it down was like really not there. So I really think for me, I think this would be a good setup. I could have this crescent kayak for doing like smaller ponds and like creeks and stuff like that, and then I've got my bass boat, the old Triton, for going out on the old lakes and stuff. So I really think that's what I'm going to do for this season. I've got you know, I've gotten a lot of time out in the boat, and I will tell you that like, if there's anything I've learned, is that the kayaks can catch them too, but the boat is nice to get around. Trying to think, I don't know, it was like one of the last crappie videos I did. I was fishing at a spot, catching a bunch of small fish, and then like I motored to a different spot, was able to catch some bigger fish. And it's just nice to have options whenever you go out and you're limited on time, or when it's like really cold like it was today. Because I will tell you right now that like days like today, when it's extremely cold out, like I don't care how well you're dressed, like you're going to be limited on the time that you can stay on the water, because it's so daggone cold. When it's that cold, it just gets really frustrating. So, I mean, for me, like having the bass boat is great. My son has actually asked multiple times about when we're going fishing again, and I'll tell you right now, that pumps me up, because he's already asking, and so is my daughter. So that like gets me really excited for the spring and summer, getting to go out on the water with my kids. Man, like that is where it's at. But I love fishing, and you know, I'm gonna lie to y'all, like, I always catch the giants, but I love going fishing, and as long as I don't get skunked, I count it as a success. Originally today, I'd plan on going out and really crappie fishing for a little bit, and maybe bass fishing for a little bit. But I'll be 100% honest, is that I got daggone cold. My hands were like hurting, because my hands were so daggone cold. So, yeah. So it's been a good time, and once again, like I really appreciate you guys watching. We are almost to 1,500 subscribers. Insane. I actually was at the gym tonight. Somebody commented on my shirt, said that they really liked my shirt. I get some looks whenever I go out. And yeah, people will do a double take. but it's super fun. And I don't know, guys. Like, I'm really looking forward to this season. I'm really looking forward to. Really looking forward. My goal this year is to beat my PB when it comes to bass fishing. So I'm really thinking that late February into early April, I'm gonna kind of split my time between fishing for largemouth and doing the white bass run. Anybody who is around this area knows that Tyler Feaster, I think that's how you pronounce his name. Go give him some love. He's struggling with some health issues right now, and he said that he's going to kind of stop covering the white bass run, and he kind of handed the torch off to me and said that I can basically take it over. And I plan to try to do it justice. I won't do all the updates like he did. I do plan on doing some white bass run content like I have the past couple of years, and but the one thing about this spring is I think I am also going to really try to catch my personal best largemouth. And if you know anything about largemouth, the best time to catch like one of your biggest ones is like right before like the spawn, pre-spawn. And yeah, Jared, 8 pounds is a healthy fish. I would love to catch one that big. We will see. But that's kind of my goal this year, is to kind of split my time this spring between fishing the white bass run, really trying to catch a really big largemouth. Possibly this summer is to make a trip to catch one of those giant. You know anything about smallies? North where they get the obese, man, they got some big old football size smallmouth. I'd really like to get up there and catch some of those. But should be a good year, guys, and I appreciate all your all support. Like, gosh, like when I started this thing, like I know, like I really had hoped that I would reach 1,000 subscribers, but now I'm at 1.5 ish. And I feel super blessed that you all watch my content. It's not anything special. Like, I just try to be real with you guys. I'm just an average fisherman that likes to go fishing and have a good time, and hopefully share some of my tips with you guys so that like you all can get out and enjoy yourself on the water. I'm hoping to get that crescent kayak and then be able to share some content about it. A lot of people aren't really on those. A lot of people are really looking for those Hobies, those, the propel kayaks, like all that stuff. I will say that I am really interested in seeing Gene Jensen, the old fluke master, and seeing like how he does fishing from that. It's that Bonafide, it's P127. I'm really interested in seeing that kayak too. The Bonafide kind of has like a similar hull design to that Perception Outlaw, but then you're going to add the propel drive on top of it. So I'm kind of interested to see how that kayak performs. I really wish there was an ability for me to get some seat time in one without buying one, but I do not have unlimited funds, and so I am where I am. But but if you guys have any questions or anything, please feel free to type them down in the live chat. I'll stay on here for a little bit and see what you guys have to say. We will go from there. But let's see here, I'm gonna try to get on here. Yeah, so that is me from today. As you can see, I am all bundled up, and it was like super cold, And I'll tell you what, man, like the water temp, if you saw in that other picture, you've got, it was at 40, like it was like 40, 41 degrees water surface temp. So, I mean, it's still not super duper cold, but it was definitely cold enough out there. And I'm not sure, I'm not sure if Canoe Kentucky has bona fides or not. I'm kind of curious to see. I know that if any of you all are really into the fishing stuff and you are in the local area, check out the Evolving Angler podcast. I know there is the Cincinnati like boat show, and I think he will be at the Strictly Sail booth this weekend. But check out the Evolving Angler on Instagram, and then the Evolving Angler podcast. It's on all the podcast platforms like you know, like what is it? I think. Yeah, all those podcasty things. All those podcasty things. But go check out the Evolving Angler. I think he's going to be up there in Cincinnati this weekend, and so go check him out. And Strictly Sail, they also have some kayaks. I think they're demoing in a pool and that kind of cool stuff. But go check him out. I love that podcast. If you've never listened to it, I feel like the Evolving Angler podcast is kind of like two buddies just talking fishing. And he'll have like guests on that talk about, like, he does a lot of kayak fishing, and he invites guests on, and they just talk fishing, and it's a lot of fun. Like Cameron Palowich has been on there, and he talked like a lot about like muskie fishing from a kayak and stuff like that. So go check out that podcast and give him a like. Tell him RHINOjoe sent you, because great little podcast. But yeah. So, well, guys, I guess I'm going to jump off of here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the live stream tonight. Just talking a little bit about fishing and about what's going on. It's finally getting to that really cold time of year where it's just daggone cold out, and I'll still be going out. I'll still be going out trying to catch them. And hopefully I'm able to get out again and try to catch some of these fish off this hump that I showed you all. But as always, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this little live stream here. Thanks for supporting me and supporting this channel. And it really means the world to me, just because I love making these videos and I love sharing my love of fishing with all of you guys out there. But as always, guys, don't forget, get outside, do something awesome, and take somebody with you if you get a chance. And I'll see you in the next one, in the next video, next live stream. A couple videos coming out. Started working on them today. So we'll see you in one of those, guys. And appreciate you all once again. And hopefully you all have a blessed day. And I appreciate every single one of you guys. I'll see you in the next one.